Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching Only Murders in the Building, Season 3, Episode 4, The White Room.
So I have never gone to the White Room.
I've never even heard of it.
Neither have I.
But it seems like the yips for theater actors.
Kind of?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely have, like, disassociated.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like...
go somewhere else.
No, it was more or less like... I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I feel slightly disconnected from my body, but I feel like I know the general feeling of what I'm trying to evoke right now, so I kind of, like, stay on task, but I've never just, like, completely stepped out.
Yeah. Well, Charles does it 3 times in this episode.
Oh my god, he really does. And I'm kind of like, is he actually having a stroke?
I don't think so.
I don't know, because the way he's, like, throwing, expletives, obscenities at the same, like, and I mean, he is like fully going. I don't know.
It's really funny. So I guess, I don't know if I missed it from the first couple episodes, but I guess Joy moved in with him, the makeup artist.
Well, this just happened.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, like,
so I didn't miss any build up to it.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Other than them, like, them dating.
Okay. So she moved in with him, and she also brought 62 fish.
It's too many fish.
In a tank that doesn't seem big enough for them, even though they're small.
It's too many fish.
And then she's gonna go back to the fish store. She seems unhinged.
Yeah.
Mostly in, like, an old lady way.
Yeah.
But, okay, here's the other thing. So, you were pretty convinced last week that it was Kimber.
No.
Or no, you still wanted it to be Loretta.
Yeah.
That's right. But Kimber was suspicious. I think most of the suspicion is off of Kimber, but I had forgotten that in episode, I think, one or two, when they first started talking about it, they were like, another woman murderer, that's kind of reductive. So I kind of think it can't be a woman this season. Because this season has also been very meta so far, especially in this episode when they were having that conversation with Howard about Mabel's sweaters.
Mm-hmm.
This season is super meta so far, and I think that we should be paying more attention to, like, the little things they say.
Okay.
So I don't think that it's another woman. Unless that's a subversion of the subversion.
Yeah, well, we definitely can't do another one of Charles's gals.
Yes.
So it's definitely not Joy.
I don't think so, because that was also way too... Because also, I just would believe that Ben was a dick to the makeup artist.
Yeah.
And so she wrote, what was it, like, fuck you pig or something?
Fucking pig,
Fucking
yeah.
pig on,
very Butterfield 8.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I feel like she would do that in retaliation, but it was, like, way too on the nose, where she was like, oh my gosh, my lipstick, I've been looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, put it right back in her kit where it was, like, missing from.
Yeah.
That's too on the nose.
Very much like with Kimber's, oh, I don't have my hanky, guess I gave it away. And I was like, that's too obvious.
Turns out she sold it to make a couple bucks, and she's not technically...
Couple $100.
Couple $100. But she's right, in New York, that's, like, nothing. That's, like, not... And Mabel tours an apartment in this episode, which, like, as a single person, she could probably swing it. She could, like, make it work, but it's such a downgrade from her aunt's apartment.
468 square feet. Listen, as a single lady,
plus utilities, plus a building fee
for $4,800.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, for me, minimum 700 square feet.
Yeah. Also, she's not making money.
No,
she doesn't have, like, income. I don't think the podcast is paying them.
Mm-mm.
They can't be.
I don't think they're doing ads either.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah. Basically, the overarching thing of this episode is that Charles he's going to the White Room when he has to do the patter song that Oliver has written for the show. And it, like, seems like it's kind of a good one. And he was like, it's just exposition for the guy in the cast that can't sing. And I was like, offensive. Steve Martin can sing. He has released multiple albums.
But that's the whole thing with Charles. Like, he is, like, not supposed to be good at that stuff.
Right. So, from what we hear of it, it's, like, pretty good. It's very plinky. It's, like, very...
It's very Sondheim, I feel like.
Yeah. And I keep on forgetting that, like, they believe the murderers, it's
babies.
One of the triplet babies. I don't know why I think that's... And they're also, what are they called? The Pickwick triplets?
I think so.
It's just so funny. After the first time he does it, he like comes to with one shoe off, half his pants off because they're still twisted around one ankle. He's got two of the babies by the legs and he's sitting in one of the bassinets. And they all are like, oh God.
I loved the way that everyone was kind of like reacted at the end. Like Kimber was like in her seat with like one leg up and everyone was in like just various states of distress. It was very funny.
Howard was like, I need to go call my therapist.
Yeah.
And then the second time he does it, he keeps his pants on, but he's like hung one of the babies from the like light fixture or whatever. And then apparently the piano player Tom is very offended because I guess he went on some sort of absolutely filthy, somehow blasphemous rant. And it's kind of like the dancing sequences in Sucker Punch.
Oh yeah.
Because we don't actually see it. And so it's your imagination is doing most of the work for you, which I always find hilarious because it's just amazing. And so Tom has to also then be excused because he is a Christian and he can't handle it. And Oliver tells him to go find a priest and pray it out. So while he's having this White Room yips experience, Oliver is also dragging on actually going out on a date with Loretta, who was not in this episode, which was interesting.
Meryl Streep is busy.
Meryl Streep does what she wants.
She stays working. Yeah. She's busy.
But I mean, be busy here. But yeah, it just was weird that she wasn't at rehearsal, I thought.
Well, Oliver is letting her do the LA show.
Okay.
He's not releasing her from the contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, he then kind of is releasing her from her contract.
So I'm sorry. That's what I mean. Okay. He is releasing her. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So he's like kind of nervous about that. And I did really love that scene with Oliver and Charles when they talked about Joy and Loretta, because what's interesting about this season, and we get into it in this episode, but we've been getting into it the whole time, is that the three of them are kind of disconnected from each other. Even though Oliver and Charles are working on the play together, they're in a different dynamic than they have been before. So the three of them are not really working the same way, to the point where every time Mabel brings up a suspect, Oliver is like, couldn't it be someone else that's not so pivotal to the show? And it's like, I mean, yeah, that would be great, but what if it is Kimber? Then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So I really like that. And I like that they both just basically were like, we can do the hard things. We can do the things that we like don't want to do. But Charles wants to, I think, ask Joy to move back out. And instead he goes to the White Room again and proposes somehow.
So I had a thought, and I'm wondering,
where did he get that ring, by the way? Was it in the treasure box?
So I think so. I think that Joy has been watching him do this, and maybe he's not realizing that's what's been happening. And so I think maybe in his fit, she staged it. Because she knows that he doesn't remember what's happening while it's happening. And so, and then she's like, well, that's convenient. Yeah. She got a treasure thing and then there's a ring in it.
Yeah. He figured out a workaround at one point, which was like making an omelet. He got through it while he was making an omelet, which is like his happy place. So he tries to do the hand motions of making an omelet in the second go around. And Oliver is like, hold your hands behind your back. And that's when he goes on the like filthy one. We talked a little bit. They like sort of confront Kimber at the theater after sort of bribing Howard to let them back in the theater. Because I guess he's the only one with a key, which also seems weird.
Yeah.
So he's apparently the only one with a key. And so they sort of like imply that Mabel has left a sweater there. And that's when we get kind of the meta thing about how much Howard loves her sweaters. And she starts talking about moths getting into them. And he's just like, no, God, here, take the key. And so they talk to Kimber and she's just sort of trying to do a side hustle. She's not living at the theater, but she is running her like beauty empire through the theater. She's like an influencer, I guess. And so they don't really find anything besides the lipstick and the message on the window. And apparently it smells terrible because all of the opening night flowers and like fruit baskets and stuff have just been sitting there. No one
rotting.
cleared them out. Just like dirty, like theater basement smell plus dead flowers.
I mean, kind of hold your tongue on the dirty theater basement smell. It
Is
is
good? Okay.
Yeah, there is nothing like it.
I do like the smell of a theater, but I would imagine that like the dressing room part smells worse.
It's not that well, I mean, I can't speak for like the men's room. Yes, I can. The men's room smells. But it just kind of smells. It depends on the show, but it smells like costumes. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like the mix of fabric and sawdust and hairspray and perfume and BO and depending on where the bathroom is, a little bit of the bathroom. It's like it's a hit.
Plus dead flowers.
Yeah.
And potentially rotting fruit. Yeah. And apparently open bottles of wine.
Who would just leave open bottles of wine?
Take that bitch with you.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm upset. Bottle. Yeah. Just walk out. I can't leave my babies.
Oh no. So yeah, that's really all they find. And Kimber insists that she was not sleeping with Ben, or at least that they weren't in like a romantic relationship. Potentially she slept with him still, but only to like secure him doing an ad for her like beauty serum, which apparently is just Vaseline and club soda.
I mean, at least just put like mineral water and some crystals in there or something.
But I guess he didn't get around to it. And so then basically she sold the hanky to try to get a little bit of money, and she got a couple $100, but not too much. And then the other big thing that's happening in this episode is that Cinda Canning keeps reaching out to Mabel. And she won't meet, and then she finally does. And Cinda Canning is doing a whole, like, wellness, like... Very goopy wellness, like, journey thing podcast.
You guys stop putting yoni eggs up your vag. Please stop. Stop doing it. You're going to get a yeast infection.
Put porous stones in your vagina.
You're going to get a yeast infection.
Also, if you don't get a yeast infection, you maybe just won't be able to get it out either.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and like everyone's like, oh my god, the things that came out afterward, it just was so cleansing. No, that is bacteria, and it might be good bacteria that you need. So just don't do it.
Don't take stuff out of your vagina.
Maybe just steam it if you want to.
Don't steam your vagina.
Very soft steam.
No.
Like a humidifier.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe. I have never.
I don't want to steam my vagina.
I don't particularly either. It's fine.
I live in Florida. It's steamy enough. Like,
that is so true.
I am solid with the level of steam in my vagina.
Yep. And then with me, add on the fucking underboob sweat, I'm done. There's no more.
Just like dampness from here to here.
I mean, with this mop,
all
you
day, every day.
Yeah.
Even inside.
Yeah.
Even inside the house.
It's terrible here.
Well, we know what's going on TikTok for this episode.
Yep.
So anyway, Mabel does finally go to meet with Cinda in this episode. Also, I feel like we should start doing fashion for these episodes too, because Mabel wore 2 incredible coats and 1 incredible patchwork sweater in this episode.
I did not love the sweater, but the sweater is definitely your vibe for sure.
I loved the sweater, but then the white coat was so beautiful, and then that big oversized...
That was my favorite one.
Houndstooth trenchy thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Ugh! Cinda, on the other hand, looks crazy.
That blonde hair is terrible.
The blonde hair is so bad. But in addition to the terrible blonde hair, she's just like head to toe in like blankety layers of tunics and sweaters and stuff. So she basically is like, I want us to be partners because I want to get back into doing murder podcasts. And the only way to do that is to kind of like revamp my deal with someone else. Like, because she's like, I feel like I've got a couple more weeks of this and then I won't be canceled anymore.
Yeah.
For her assistant Poppy doing all that stuff. So Mabel is resistant because she's like, I can't leave Charles and Oliver, even though they are busy and distracted with other stuff. And Cinda presumably offers her like $150,000 by accident at one point, because she was like, no, I really can't do that extra zero though. So Mabel is again intrigued, but she's like, I just can't do it. Even though she's stuck on the case, she doesn't want to leave Charles and Oliver. But for me, I don't have any morals and I don't have a backbone and I just would take the money and do it. She's not going to have a place to live in like 3 more weeks. She doesn't have a job to the point where she was like, I don't know, I figured I'd just open boxes on YouTube or something.
If I were her, I mean, I would consider it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like no, but I also probably would take it to Charles and Oliver.
Well, sure, ask for sure. But then I would be like, well, I have to ask Charles and Oliver. But if everything's cool, then like, yeah, why not? Because also Cinda has like a production company.
Because that's exactly where my mind went. Where it was like,
and resources.
So why don't you buy?
Only Murders. Yeah. Presented by Cinda Cannon. Yeah. 100%.
And then everyone gets paid.
I agree. Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm sort of torn because I understand her, like, she's got her convictions and everything. Mm-hmm. My convictions really are shaky at best.
I mean, have convictions, but if you have a golden goose that's like willing to help you and it isn't, I mean, you would hope that she wouldn't want to take it over, which was Cinda Canning.
It could go either way.
Yeah, because I mean, I definitely flesh it out because on one hand, it could be kind of like signing a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, how many times can this just like fall in my lap? Because because Cinda says that to Mabel, is like, murder just finds you.
Yeah.
So,
because Cinda doesn't even realize that she's investigating the Ben Glenroy murder until Mabel is the one who's like, oh, I'm like working on something now. Mm-hmm. And that's when she realizes. Yeah. But she also made a comment where she was like, how many more people can you expect to just keep keeling over in the Arconia? And I was like, first of all, there's dozens of apartments in that building. Second of all, the majority of the people in that building are elderly. Yeah. So maybe not murder, but only deaths in the building could definitely keep you going for a while.
Yeah.
The only other thing I really have to say is that when the 3 of them were at the theater talking together and Mabel asked if they knew how to talk to someone her age, and they both were like, no, definitely not. And he was like, but you're okay because you have old lady energy.
Yeah, and they were like 72 or 75.
I loved that. And then she went so unhinged trying to then talk to Kimber.
She did. Oh my God. It was terrible.
I mean, it's allowed. She's Selena Gomez.
I know, but it's just like, you could have sold it a little bit more. Better. I mean,
especially because she was having a full conversation with Kimber just moments prior, and then she all of a sudden was like totally out of pocket. She was like,
yes, mama, queen, yeah. And I'm like, you put some mustard. I'd be like, yes, queen.
No,
like,
she was
what?
She's like 75.
She really is.
Also, her name's Mabel.
Yeah.
When you come around with a name like Mabel, you're going to have a lady energy.
That is true. Yeah. My grandfather dated a lady named Mabel.
Really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I remember I used to watch Mad About You with my parents. Mm-hmm. And when Paul and Jamie finally have a baby, they name her Mabel. But it was like, they were not telling the baby name for like ever and ever and ever. And so like when Jamie finally has the baby and they name her, everybody was like, what? It was like news.
Oh,
it was hilarious.
If you're going to name your kid Mabel, give them like a cool middle name and then they can go by the middle name.
I don't know. I kind of like the name Mabel. Yeah. But it just was like got built up so much. Like for a whole season, it got built up so much. Also, their last name was Buckman. Mabel Buckman. That's cool. I like it.
Well, you can have that one.
I mean, I'm not having, neither one of us are having babies. I don't know who you think I'm going to name Mabel.
Well, you're just hold on to that Mabel energy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I like it.
Yeah. Yes, queen.
I sometimes wish I didn't have a name that was so of its time.
You think your name is of its time?
It was the 17th most popular girl baby name in the mid 80s.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love that you know that.
I looked it up one time.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I would look up if my name was popular, but my computer's dead, so it's just a prop today. So
well, Rachel's also timeless though. Like your name's in the Bible.
Yeah, she was the pretty sister.
You're crazy.
It was still a very polyamorous relation, not poly.
Bigamous.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, my middle name is in the Bible.
Rebecca, right? Yeah, that was the other sister. It was Rebecca and Rachel.
I'm the ugly one. No. Hey, look, there's another TikTok bite.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, so that's basically it. We're still, in my opinion, we're still really at square one. With
Yeah, we really are. I mean, just jazz squares all around.
Which is fine.
Yeah, right. Because I feel like, how many more episodes do we have?
6, I think.
Okay, there's plenty of time, and I feel like this is what kind of happened last season too, where I feel like we were box stepping for a very long time, and then it's like once we started cooking with gas, we freaking went.
But I do like I mentioned earlier, I do like it in this season a lot because it does feel different because the 3 of them are kind of scattered to the winds from each other. So I am really excited to see where that goes. We also didn't have Jesse Williams in this episode.
Yes,
but hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah.
I like his hot face.
I feel like we have to.
We definitely have to.
Because we still... Oh, no, we did see what was on there.
Yeah, but I'm still team plate of cookies. Yeah.
I think it's cookies.
They didn't note a plate of cookies in there when they were in the dressing room.
What if he ate the whole plate of cookies and then
so
Joy had left the lipstick in there and he got mad and wrote fucking pig because he was hard on himself, and if he was like whatever and he got the lipstick on his face and then Joy would have to come in and fix it.
Okay. I see where you're at.
I feel like his speech or whatever from the camera, I feel like that is a red herring. Am I using that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But I very much think that.
It's like half a red herring because we didn't actually see the suspect.
Yes.
But yeah.
And the handwriting looked more male.
Yeah. Well, I mean, writing with lipstick on a mirror is not the same as writing with a pen on paper.
Yeah.
But I take your point.
Yeah. So I think it's very deliberate that Kimber was like, he was really hard on himself.
Yeah.
And we've already been shown that he has a really hard time with cookies.
Yeah. That was also kind of a meta moment where in one of her videos that she was doing, she was talking about how he's aging in reverse because in reality, we talk that way about Paul Rudd constantly. I'm really liking that level of this season, the like meta-ness of this season, because it feels more than the previous seasons.
Yeah. I like it so much.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for this week. We will be back next week. Yeah. Let us know what you think. Like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Bye. Bye. I'm proud of myself. That literally just came in my head. Yay. Sometimes I'm smart.
You're always smart.
Oh, thank you.